What if the people who sacrificed the most were the ones the world forgot first? What if the heroes who risked their lives to protect American soldiers were suddenly left fighting for their own survival? Today we're diving deep into a story that isn't just emotional. It's urgent, powerful, and long overdue. These are the untold stories of Afghans who risked everything for America. Their journeys, their courage, their loss, and their determination deserve to be heard. And if you've ever wondered what loyalty looks like when the stakes are life or death, stay with me. You're about to discover the truth behind the people whose sacrifices shaped missions, saved American lives, and changed history. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video goes far beyond politics, headlines, and headlines. It's about real people, real bravery, and real consequences. We're taking an in-depth look at the Afghans who stood shoulder to shoulder with U.S. forces, not because they had to, but because they believed in a better future. This is a story about courage under fire, uncertainty, and the fight to stay alive long after the war ended. To understand their experience, imagine the exterior of their world first, the harsh, unpredictable landscape of Afghanistan, a place where every mountain ridge, dusty road, and crowded marketplace held dangers you could not always see. From the outside, their lives looked like a battlefield painted with risk. Their homes became targets. Their families lived in constant fear. Their choices weren't just difficult, they were deadly. Supporting American troops made them marked men and women their own homeland. Everything around them, from the neighborhoods they grew up into the streets they walked daily, turned into unpredictable terrain where at any moment, someone could be watching, waiting, or planning retaliation. This was the exterior reality they lived with every single day. But inside, on a more personal, emotional interior level, the story becomes even more powerful. These Afghans weren't just interpreters or guides. They were people with dreams, families, ambitions, and hopes for peace. Many believed helping the U.S. military would build a safer future for their children. Many saw it as a chance to fight extremism that had already stolen so much from their country. Their motivations were deeper than politics. They were driven by survival, loyalty, and belief in a world without violence. And despite the danger, they showed up every day, steady and determined, carrying the weight of knowing that one wrong word or misinterpreted phrase could cost lives. Their interior world was a mix of fear and courage, hope and exhaustion, but above all, an unbreakable sense of duty. When we look at their performance during those years of conflict, it becomes clear they weren't just helpers. They were critical parts of nearly every mission. These interpreters and local allies became the bridge between cultures, the eyes and ears on the ground, and the people who understood the terrain better than any map ever could. They translated not just language, but emotions, intentions, and cultural nuances that American troops couldn't always recognize on their own. Their decisions, quick thinking, and clarity in chaotic moments often determined whether missions succeeded or failed. Many American soldiers have openly stated they wouldn't be alive today without an Afghan ally by their side. Their performance in the field was unmatched, not just because of skill, but because they were fighting for their own loved ones too. They knew the land, the risks, and the people better than anyone, making them an invaluable part of every operation. Their contribution wasn't only battlefield intelligence. They navigated U.S. forces through unknown villages, negotiated peace in tense moments, and helped protect troops from hidden threats like roadside bombs. They earned trust the hard way through action, sacrifice, and courage. Their performance wasn't written on medals or reported in news headlines, but it's embedded in the memories of the soldiers who served with them. When we talk about safety features in their lives, it's almost strange to use that phrase because safety was something they barely had. Unlike American troops who had armored vehicles, fortified bases, and protective gear, many Afghan allies had no shield at all. Their safety relied on secrecy, on not being recognized, on staying one step ahead of the threats that followed them, even after their missions ended. Their homes weren't secure. Their daily commutes weren't safe. Even a simple trip to the market could become a deadly trap. Their safety features also were hiding their faces, using false names, or relocating families repeatedly to avoid being tracked. And after the U.S. withdrawal, those safety nets disappeared entirely, leaving many exposed to revenge attacks. For thousands of them, survival became a full-time mission long after the war was declared over. But what truly sets their story apart, the unique selling points of their sacrifice, is the unmatched level of loyalty and bravery they showed despite having so little protection. These were ordinary people who made extraordinary choices. They stepped into danger not for fame, not for wealth, but because they believed they were contributing to a mission greater than themselves. Their loyalty didn't end when the uniforms did. Many kept helping American forces until the last possible moment. Their courage was not symbolic. It was lived, breathed, and suffered daily. They were the backbone of operations that often went unnoticed by the world. Their stories weren't publicized, but their efforts built relationships between nations and saved countless lives. Another powerful part of their journey is the price, both literal and symbolic. They paid for standing with America. Some were promised visas through special programs, yet waited years or even decades for approval. Many sold their possessions just to afford paperwork fees, travel expenses, or relocation costs. Some families were separated. Some never made it out. The price they paid was emotional, financial, and heartbreaking. The Taliban targeted them specifically, calling them traitors, forcing many into hiding. Their children grew up knowing danger as a constant shadow. And yet they never stopped believing that their sacrifice mattered, and that one day the world would acknowledge what they had done. And then there is the price from America's perspective. The responsibility, the obligation, the moral debt owed to these individuals. Many U.S. veterans have been outspoken about how deeply they care about their Afghan allies. They remember the faces, the voices, the acts of courage. For them, the price of abandoning these allies is more than political, it's personal. They feel the loss, the guilt, and the emotional weight of knowing their friends are still at risk. As we reach the conclusion, one thing becomes clear. The story of Afghans who risked everything for America is not just about the past. It's about today, tomorrow, and the unfinished mission to protect those who once protected us. Their loyalty should never be forgotten, and their sacrifices should never be overshadowed. These individuals stood on the front lines of danger with no armor but their convictions. They believed in partnership, they believed in trust, and they believed in a future where their children could live without fear. Today, some of them are rebuilding their lives in the United States. Others are still waiting, hoping for safety. And some, tragically, never made it to see the future they fought for. Their stories aren't just untold, they're unfinished. And telling them is the first step toward honoring the promises made to them. So if you believe their sacrifices deserve recognition, if you believe loyalty means something, and if you believe no hero should be left behind, then share their story.